Okay, y'all. So today I'll be doing a review of a new show on Bravo called King's Court. Okay, it's a spinoff of a show that they had before called Queen's Court, which I used to watch. Maybe some people didn't see it, but I'm a reality TV show junkie, so I've seen the show. The Queen's Court had three women vying for, a suitor. And the King's Court is going to be similar. It's going to have three men all looking for their queen. So the King's Court is, it's on Bravo. It comes on Sunday nights, and you can watch it on Peacock on the following day, so you can watch it on Mondays. That's where I'll be watching it because I don't have Bravo, but I do have Peacock. The show is hosted by Holly Robinson Peete and her husband, Rodney Peete, okay? And I did not know this, but on the show, they said they were married for 30 years. That is a long time. They were great hosts on the Queen's Court, so I'm sure on this they'll be just as good. Like, they're great together, and they're the perfect people to be hosting a show like this because they've been married for so long. So they actually do want to help people find, like, real, true love. So the men they're going to be having on this season, the first season, and hopefully it's good and they have more season. The men they're going to be having are WWE star Titus O'Neil. Thaddeus, his name is Thaddeus Bullard. And then they have NBA star Carlos Boozer. And then they also have the world famous male model Tyson Beckford. Okay. When I saw that they were going to have him, I was like, oh, I'll be watching. He's a little older, but he still looks great, okay? He looks amazing. Okay, so over the course of the season of the show, I guess they'll be going on 21 dates with, 21 single women. And there's supposed to be 10 episodes of this show. So I'm going to try my best to review all 10 episodes. And hopefully I can make the reviews good. So at the opening of the show, they had, Tyson coming on, and his little thing was, he said, he's getting up there in age, and he actually said his age. The other gentlemen, they didn't really say their age, and I didn't look it up on Google or nothing like that. I was just watching the show and just giving my opinion of just what I saw, like, in front of me. Because low-key, I didn't, like, I know Tyson Beckford more than I know I've heard the other two names before, but they've never really been on my radar, So, but I was shocked to see Tyson Beckford said he was like 53. I was like, he looks great for 53. Okay. So he said he was lonely, and that he's been lonely basically, and that he quotes saying he's a little mischievous. Okay. And then there's Carlos, and he's the basketball, the basketball star. He says that women always comes up to him, kind of knowing his stats, his basketball stats. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. They're probably trying to, like, impress you, because there's some women that are into sports and they know their stats, so they come up and be like, this, you scored this 3-pointer, blah 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 blah. That's cool. So they're probably just trying to impress him, but he's basically saying that's not what he's not looking for someone who can recite his stats to him. He's actually looking for love, okay? And then there's Thaddeus, who just quoted he's like, I'm 6'5", 280 pounds. Like, he's also looking for love. So the women, okay. So the women in this show, they started out with 7. They're going to be 21 throughout the season, but they started with the first 7. Okay. And so the way I try to keep them apart was they're all sitting on a couch because they have them all seated on the couch. And I tried to figure out, like, which one is which. So I have my notes. It says pink dress, brown dress, black dress, blue dress, red dress, black dress with the, diamond neck. And then there's the gold dress. Okay. And I did, like, a little screenshot. That way you can see it and not add it. That way you can see all the women and images of the men as well, if you don't know who they are. So the first lady was a lady in the pink dress. She was gorgeous. Her name is Janae. She's 32 years old. She's a direct sales entrepreneur, and she's from Tampa. Then there's a lady in, like, a little brownish colored dress, and that dress was beautiful as well. Mind you, all these ladies are beautiful, right? Her name is Liliana. Okay, she's Spanish. She's a Spanish girl, 38. She's a nurse from Tacoma, Washington. The next girl is in a black dress. Her name is Lexi. They never gave Lexi's age for some reason. I don't know. Or maybe I missed it, but I didn't catch Lexi's age or what Lexi did. So I don't really know. Then, of course, there's a girl in a blue dress. She's gorgeous as well. And, of course, I'm saying dresses because I have the image that you can look at to see each girl. Her name is Brickell. She's 33, and she's a model, and she is gorgeous, okay? And then there's a lady in the red dress. Her name is Shawana, Dr. Shawana. She has a PhD. She's 37, and she has a nonprofit. She's a nonprofit exec from Atlanta. And then there is Jenny. Jenny is 45. She's a white lady. She was in a black dress with a gold. She's 45 years old. And she's in jewelry sales from Nashville. And then there's, of course, the last lady on the couch. She was wearing kind of a gold dress. Her name was Jasmine. She's 33, and she's a marketing exec from Miami. She's beautiful as well. And I really like Jasmine. Her personality was like really sweet, okay? So of course, when Carlos walked in, the first person he said he laid his eyes on was, he's like, all I saw was pink dress, right? And she was like the first girl sitting on the couch when they walked out, okay? And she was gorgeous, so he was like locked in like immediately. And that's good, you want someone who when they see you, they're just like, that's who I want, and the icing on the cake is when they get to know you, if they're like, oh, still look good. That's who I still want, like everything is still good. Like they like the way you sound. They like the way, because sometimes people look at you at first. And of course, the look is what captures people's attention, right? How you look, you may look good or whatever, that captures people's attention. But I don't know, when they hear you talk, that might go out the window, when they, get a whiff of who you are and your personality and just stuff may go out. It's like sometimes stuff just don't mesh together. So yeah, you can attract with that first look, but so I want to see if they, mesh together, after that first glance. Then there was Liliana. And of course, when she saw Tyson, she said she had waterfalls or whatever she was saying. She really liked him. Okay. Right? Tyson. So she was really interested in him. And then, I guess after they all did the introduction of the men, they decided to, the host told them, they have a lounge area you can go to where you can do, the meet and greet and chat and get to know each other, because they told them they would get a chance to pick these women for a date based off the conversation that they were having. You pick 2 women for a date, and then you would take them both on a date at the same time to kind of get to know them a little better. Okay, while they were in the lounge, I guess, chatting it up, Brickell, she is the model, okay? She recognized Tyson because at one point, I guess, in the past, he had slid in her DMs. So he was just telling her she's beautiful. And I was like, oh, that's nice. That's real cute, And, she said thank you, and they did a little wink and a smile. And I guess that was it. There was just the end to that flirtation. But sometimes that's really nice. Sometimes, maybe at the time he wasn't even interested. He just saw a beautiful picture of her and just had to let her know. And sometimes that is so sweet, and it makes people feel good, and it will just make you smile and, make you feel good about yourself, knowing, hey, someone appreciate me and they're not coming after me or nothing. He's just giving me, especially if you're Tyson Beckford, okay? So let's see, Raquel. Okay, yeah, and then this was real cute to me. Tyson, I guess, was having a conversation with the ladies about, cheating. And he told them about like a situation where he was out of town. I guess he had a girlfriend, and he was out of town. And then when he came back, the girl that he was with had another man walking his dog. And that's who she was cheating on him with. And I was like, oh, that's so sad. But what I found cute was that I guess he was so hurt by it, and he was in the confessional, basically like crying. And I find that cute because I find it endearing, because a lot of men don't express their emotion like that. And I thought that that was very, endearing for him to be like, I felt that and that hurt, so I'm going to cry. So I kind of like that he could express his emotion, and he's not afraid, to be in Tyson. He's not afraid to be a man and express his emotion in front of everybody and cry, and, these days it's like, if you're a straight man, people don't expect you to be, and he's a straight guy crying. So it just, I like that. Not saying that, I'm just saying, I like when everyone is allowed to express their emotions without anyone going, why are you crying? Man up, stuff like that. Then there was, Thaddeus. He talked about his philanthropy, which I like that as well. He had a school. He said he had a school, which I liked, and he liked giving back. And he was saying that in response to the nonprofit exec, Dr. Shawana. He was really impressed by her, because he loved giving back. So I like that he found that common ground, and he was impressed with that from, a woman that he's interested in. Okay, so, the dates. Okay, so each of them had a date. So Tyson's date was skydiving. So he took the ladies on a skydiving date. And the two people that he chose for his date was Brickell, the model that he slid into her DMs. Okay, we saw that one coming. He took her on a date. And then the second person he took on a date was Liliana. She's a little spicy Latina. So he took her on a date. And so I figured they would have and they had a good time, Now, skydiving, I'm telling you, that would not be me. Like, as much as I would have been like, oh, I like him, I'm gonna go on a date with him, skydiving would not happen. Like, no. Even Holly Robinson Pete, the hostess, she was like, no, sir. She's like, you fine, but I'm not doing that for you. That's how I feel. I'm like, I'm not going skydiving for anybody. That's not on my bucket list. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. It's just what it is. That's one of those things. I'm not jumping from any high build. No, we're not doing that. But they enjoyed their date, okay? And then, of course, Carlos's date. Hair in my mouth. Excuse me. Carlos's date, he had Janae. And he had Janae, and Janae was that first woman that he liked. She was the one who, as soon as he caught her eye in the pink dress, he said, all I saw was pink dress. That's what he said. As soon as he caught. So, of course, he was going to pick her for his first date. He wanted to see what she was about. So that made a lot of sense. So they went out on that date. And then he chose Lexi. And then Lexi is from Little Elm, Texas. Okay. And she has 2 children. But Lexi was on that yoga date, because he took them on a yoga date. On that yoga date, she was not feeling it too much. Not because she didn't like yoga, but they brought out goats. So I guess it was goat yoga. And that was like his little surprise. But she was like, oh no. She's like, who thought of this idea? Because the goat was crawling on their backs. The goats were everywhere, on her back, Janae seemed to be enjoying it, but she was like, nah, I don't think so, sir. Even after the date was over, I guess they went outside, and then there was chickens and stuff and all these animals. And she was like, oh, no. This is not. She's like, why are all these animals around? She was not having it. So Janae is not a big fan of just animals running around loose, okay? She's not with that. But Janae was legit. She was beautiful. She had a good spirit, all that. She just was not a fan of the goat yoga and the chicken running loose and animals running loose. And of course, then there's Thaddeus, okay? Thaddeus Bullard, Mr. Titus O'Neil. I don't know why he has like two whole names, but I guess that's like his wrestler thing. That's his wrestler thing. Mr. Titus O'Neil, WWE wrestler, but his name is Thaddeus. So you'll see, I guess you'll see a lot of using both, because I wasn't sure what to say. I was like, should I say Titus or should I say Thaddeus? So I'll just say Thaddeus, just because that's his legal name, right? So his date was an art date. He took his girls on an art date, and he chose Dr. Shawana, of course, because he was the you know, he was the philanthropist, and she did philanthropist work as well, and she did, you know, stuff like that. So they, you know, meshed on that. So of course that was his first date that he chose, and then he chose Jasmine as his second date. And I thought Jasmine and Dr. Shawana, I thought they looked quite similar. You know, they look very similar to me. So I was like, he definitely have a type, because these two women look pretty much alike. Both beautiful, of course, but definitely a type. So for him, he was enjoying the date, but he did mention that he thought Jasmine, you know, wasn't giving him like what Dr. Shawana was giving him on the date, which I thought she was giving him a lot. She just was not, you know, you can tell she's the type of woman who is just like, hey, you know, I'm here for you, but I still want to know you like me too. You know, I'm not going to just push upon you. And of course, Dr. Shawana was not that type. Dr. Shawana was like, you know, she was like, I'm going to go get what I want. You know, she's definitely a very ATL girl. Okay. And nothing's wrong with that. I think that's cool. You know, she got her stuff together. She knows what she wants, and she's going to go get it. So it's like two different women, you know, they have two different ways of expressing who they are. But I guess he's looking for the more like in your face type of woman, you know, and that wasn't Jasmine. So he mentioned that, you know, hey, I wish she was a little bit more, which is fine. But all in all, everybody seemed to enjoy their date. I guess as the night, you know, progressed, I guess the next day they're trying to figure out like who did they want around, and who did they want to keep like after the date and all that stuff. So after the date, of course, 3 ladies were up for elimination, right? The 3 ladies up for elimination were Jenny, Lexi, and Jenny was the older of all the bunch, the older woman of all the bunch. She was 45. Everybody else was a little bit younger, still in their 30s. Jenny, she was 45. The white lady, she had like I liked her dress. She had like a little, you know, black dress with like diamonds on the thing. Very nice. So there was Jenny, and then there was Lexi. She was the lady with the 2 children. That the Carlos said he liked her because she was so devoted to her children, and that's, you know, that's why I mentioned it, because he was devoted. That's the thing that drew him to her. He liked her devotion to her children, and that was very nice. And she's about her business, okay? This lady, she was like, I'm about my business. And then of course there was Jasmine. And what was Jasmine's? Yeah, Jasmine's the one I like, you know, like just real sweet. She's a marketing exec from Miami. So those were the 3 ladies that were up, and they invited them to like a cocktail hour. So going back just a little bit, like I think before the date, Jenny was on a date with Titus, with Thaddeus, okay? Jenny was on a date with Thaddeus, and on that date, not a date, but you know, that when they go and chat separately, they were like on a little pull, like he, you know, came and got her and they were chatting, right? She didn't say a date. But she was talking about her parents, how her parents have been married for over 45 years. She said her dad was a senator in Tennessee. Is it Tennessee or Mississippi? Is it Tennessee or Mississippi? I should have wrote that down. All I wrote was that he was a senator. Should have wrote which state. But I felt like it was Tennessee or Mississippi, because that got him thinking, because he was like, your dad is a senator in Tennessee? You know, the way it got him thinking. He got right to the point with her, because he was like, how would your parents feel if you were to if you were to come home with a black man? And I was like, well, she's 45 years old. I mean, they may feel some type of way, but you know, if she's 45 at this point, there's not much, you know, but at the same time, you want the families to get along. So she was like, oh, they wouldn't mind, you know, they would not care if I brought home somebody black at all. They'd be fine with it. But, you know, in his little confessional, he kind of expressed concerns with that. Like, I don't know what, you know, like, he's like, I have friends in interracial relationship, and, you know, there's things that kind of pull them apart, you know, like family will try to pull them apart. And, you know, so he expressed like he doesn't want that to be like something for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, that's a valid concern, you know, even though, again, we're in modern time, And lots of people date interracially, but it's still some family members still don't want that, whether you're from black, white, Spanish. Some people just don't want to, they want their daughters or son to bring home somebody of their own race. They want somebody to bring home a white boy or a white girl, or you may want your son or daughter to have a black boy or a black girl or a Mexican boy or a Mexican, some people are just like that. Don't bring home anything else but what we are. And it is what it is. Golly, why does the hair keep coming in my mouth? Okay, so I thought that was like an interesting conversation, and we're gonna go back to that conversation, okay? So then Carlos, I thought this was cute too. While they were having like a conversation, Carlos asked Janae, because all he saw was that pink dress, okay? So Carlos asked Janae if he, while they were having a conversation, he was like, could you see yourself taking me home to your mom? Am I somebody that, after talking to me, you could see yourself taking me home to mom and dad? And she was like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, well, she don't really know. Like, right now, everything is like first impression. Y'all just met. Everything is good. You're cute, She said what did she say he was? Like, he's a teddy bear, not teddy bear, but, she said something like he's just real sweet. Like, he gives off this sweet energy. So of course she's like, right now she could see that. So she's not going to be like, no. Well, some people, but she's like, yeah, why not? You're nice. You seem like a cool dude, And so I thought that was cute because he was really feeling her. Like, I feel like he would have just stopped this whole competition for her like that, right? Because he was really feeling her. And after he saw her first, and after he had a conversation with her, he still wanted her. So I like that. Hopefully they continue, building on this. Okay, so back to the three ladies for elimination. Okay, Jenny, Lexi, and Jasmine. So Jenny was talking to Thaddeus, and she was like, well, I have something to tell you. She was like, I lied earlier. I actually have never dated a black man. And then I was like, why would you? That's so weird. Because to me, I'm like, why would you lie about that? That doesn't even make any sense. And he was looking confused. Like, why would you lie about that? Then she said, oh, I lied because I didn't want the situation to become aggressive. I was like, whoa, okay. What are you talking about? It was just like a really weird conversation. First of all, you don't have to lie about dating outside your race. And second of all, who was going to become aggressive with you? Why would the situation become aggressive versus hey, we had a conversation and it's just not what it is? Like, yeah, you lied, but how was he going to become aggressive with you? Like, did you think he was going to rough you up? Like, it was just a weird thing to say. I personally didn't like how she phrased stuff and how she said it. Like, it didn't bode well with me. So, so he was like, he was just not having it. But ultimately they let Jenny go, because they all sit at this table for elimination, and at the elimination dinner, they all go to the elimination dinner. So the three ladies are sitting there, and Jenny was up first. So ultimately they all decided, like all three gentlemen decide, not just Thaddeus, okay? Like all of them say, because if you've seen the Queen's Court, sometimes one person may not like the girl that they're seeing, but somebody else might, or the guy that they're seeing or whatever, but somebody else might. So I'm believing that they're following the same type of, thing here as well. Like, even though one of the guys may not, be like, hey, even though Jenny was the one I'm talking to, y'all may like her better, so we can keep her around just to see if we have a connection with her, in the upcoming weeks. So all three of the guys decided, hey, Jenny was not the one. We're not keeping Jenny. So Jenny was let go. And they let her go because they all said they feel like she wasn't being her authentic self. Well, she wasn't. Like, ma'am, you went on a show. You are a white woman, and you went on a show with three black men trying to date three. Why? Just be yourself, because they'll be able to see through that. Anyone would be able to see through that. So just be who you are if you're really trying to find love. And I guess this was her something different and something new that she was trying. But be honest, don't lie. Just say, hey, you know what? I've never done it before, but hey, I'm 45. I'm looking for love, and I've always liked black men. I've always found black men attractive, so I'm just gonna go for it and see what's out there, because this may be my, like, that would have been received so much better than, oh, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I've never actually dated. I just didn't want you to get aggressive. Like, like, ma'am, goodbye. Say something. like, okay. Anyways. Then there was Lexi, and Lexi was saved because Carlos was like, hey, I actually want to know more about you, so you're good. We'll keep you around, okay? And then Jasmine, Jasmine was ultimately let go, because they didn't feel, well, he didn't feel like, oh my gosh, Thaddeus didn't feel like she pursued him enough and was aggressive enough like the doctor was, like, what's her name? Dr. Shawana. You know, Dr. Shawana was more aggressive in her approach to him. And he's saying, in the way she was flirting with him, and, you know, the way she was with him. And again, nothing is wrong with that. I like that. Good for you, girl. But he was saying Jasmine didn't give him that. Like, they're two different people. So Jasmine may have liked you. So, and it's not like, because you can choose to keep whoever you want. That they want you to eliminate, but I've seen the show before. They're nice enough to be like, hey, if you have a connection, even though we ask you to eliminate 2 people, you don't have to do that. Or 3 people, you don't have to do that. You can actually save them for next time. Like, it's okay. We got you. Because, you know, the Peets, they're actually trying to help people find love. So it's not like, nope, they got to go. Even if you like them and you're just not sure, it's the first, you know. So I'm like, you could have just kept, but I guess, you know, people like what they want, like, and they know what they want. So why even force something? You know, he may be saving her some heartache from his side. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I didn't like the fact that he let her go, because he didn't feel like she was being, you know, she wasn't being as take charge of him as he would like. Like, you have to give her the same energy too, sir. This is, even though you're coming to find love, you're still a man. So you're still expected to, this goes both ways. You're still expected to come and say, hey, you know, you're here for me. Just letting you know I'm interested in you. It goes both ways. So that's just my little tidbit on that. But at the end of the day, I think this will be good. I'm interested to see if these men find love, if they find what they're looking for. I love love. So I love a good show about love and black men finding love. So we will see how this goes. Black people finding love, black love. Yes, we will see how this goes. Who knows? Who knows how this may go? They have a few more ladies coming. Right now, none of the ladies seem crazy or doing anything that would just seem like insane or whatnot. Which is good, because we don't always need we don't always need crazy drama, right? Sometimes we just want people to find love and have cute, funny, fun moments. So we'll see how the rest of the season go. I'll be reviewing, so come on back and watch. Thank y'all.